Let's talk about the dreaded word, recession. It's a term that gets thrown around a lot, and it can send a chill down anyone's spine, whether you're a business owner, a worker, or just someone trying to make ends meet. Officially, a recession means the economy shrinks for 2 consecutive quarters. But for most people, it's not about technical definitions, it's about the real-life impact, layoffs, rising prices at the grocery store, and the constant worry about job security. A recession disrupts the expectation that things will keep getting better. Suddenly, the sense of stability disappears, job security vanishes, businesses close their doors, and families are left wondering what comes next. Right now, in late 2025, the warning signs are confusing. Some parts of the economy look strong, like bustling shops and steady consumer spending, while others are flashing red, with layoffs and business closures making headlines. We're not in a full-blown crisis, but we're definitely not on solid ground either. It feels like we're all walking on shaky terrain, unsure if the next step will be steady or send us tumbling. For millions of people, a recession isn't just a headline, it's a direct threat to their ability to pay rent, afford health care, or save for the future. Every dollar counts, and every unexpected expense can feel overwhelming. That's why it's so important to cut through the noise and look at the real data, not just the scary headlines or rumors. Understanding what's actually happening can help us prepare and respond. Let's focus on the job market, the engine room of the economy, because that's where the first signs of trouble usually appear. When jobs start disappearing, it's often the first domino to fall. So, is the foundation starting to crack? Or are we just feeling a few tremors? Let's dig deeper and find out what's really going on beneath the surface. The job market is the economy's foundation, the bedrock that supports everything from consumer spending to business growth. When it's strong, people feel secure, confident, and optimistic about the future. But lately, that foundation is looking shaky, and the cracks are starting to show in ways that are hard to ignore. Unemployment is creeping up, but the real story is in the surge of layoffs. Over 760,000 announced this year, the most since 2009. That's a staggering number, and it's sending shockwaves through households across the country. Major companies like Amazon, UPS, and Target are cutting staff, and these aren't just small trims. They're significant reductions that ripple through entire communities. And it's not limited to one sector. From tech to retail, manufacturing to logistics, the pain is being felt everywhere. Hiring has slowed dramatically, with job openings becoming scarce, a classic warning sign that businesses are bracing for tougher times ahead. Before mass layoffs, companies usually stop hiring, and that's exactly what's happening now. The freeze is spreading, making it harder for job seekers to find new opportunities. Temporary help services, a key economic bellwether, have been shedding jobs for months. When temp jobs disappear, it's often a sign that employers are cutting back everywhere they can. Even those with jobs are feeling the squeeze, as more people are forced into part-time work or take on extra gigs just to make ends meet. Excluding healthcare, private sector payrolls are shrinking, a worrying trend that signals deeper trouble beneath the surface. The job market's strength is fading, and that directly impacts the next piece, the American consumer, whose spending keeps the economy moving. When the foundation weakens, everything built on top becomes unstable. Businesses, families, and entire communities start to feel the pressure. The cracks are spreading, and the effects are about to hit home in ways that could reshape daily life for millions. So, what happens when consumers start to pull back, tightening their belts and rethinking every purchase? Let's find out. The American consumer has been propping up the economy for years, but that's changing. Pandemic savings are gone, inflation is still biting, and job insecurity is rising for many. Consumer confidence is hovering near record lows, and people are cutting back on spending. Retail sales are falling. Big purchases are on hold for now, and holiday hiring is way down. Retailers expect a tough season ahead. The excess savings are spent, prices remain high, and wage growth is clearly slowing. The engine of economic growth, the consumer, is running out of gas. When spending stalls, the whole economy is at risk. This puts pressure on the Federal Reserve, the institution steering the ship. Can they keep us on course, or will we drift off track? The Federal Reserve, America's central bank, has been fighting inflation by raising interest rates to their highest levels in decades, hoping to cool down the overheated economy. This strategy is meant to slow the rapid rise in prices that's been squeezing families and businesses across the country. While this approach has helped to bring inflation down, it's also made borrowing money much more expensive for everyone, from families trying to buy homes to small businesses seeking loans to grow. As a result, economic activity has slowed, and people are feeling the pinch. Now, the very medicine that was supposed to heal the economy is starting to have side effects. Layoffs are rising, and economic growth is stalling out. The job market, once red hot, is beginning to cool. The Fed faces a classic dilemma. If it keeps rates high, it risks pushing the economy into a recession. But if it cuts rates too soon, inflation could come roaring back, undoing all the progress made so far. They're trying to engineer what's called a soft landing, slowing inflation without crashing the economy. But this is a tough balancing act, and history shows it's rarely easy to pull off. Inside the Fed, opinions are split. Some officials are laser-focused on keeping inflation in check, while others worry more about a weakening job market and the risk of rising unemployment. With every decision, the risk grows. A single misstep could tip the entire economy into a downturn, with consequences for millions of Americans. The stakes are incredibly high, and the margin for error is razor-thin. Every move is watched closely by markets, businesses, and households alike. The next moves from the Fed will be critical, shaping the direction of the economy for months or even years to come. Everyone's watching, holding their breath, to see if the Fed can stick the landing and guide the economy safely through these turbulent times. But there's another threat lurking beneath the surface: debt. High levels of debt could make any stumble even more dangerous for the economy. The housing market is frozen. Mortgage rates are above 7%, locking out buyers and trapping homeowners. Home sales have slowed, dragging down related industries and economic activity. The pain isn't limited to housing. Credit card and auto loan delinquencies are rising. More people are falling behind on payments, signaling household budgets are stretched thin. Reliance on credit is up, and some are starting to slip. This stress feeds a vicious cycle. Weak spending leads to layoffs, which leads to more financial strain. The slowdown is no longer theoretical. It's hitting kitchen tables across the country. When debt becomes unmanageable, the risk of recession grows. The warning signs are everywhere. But there's a bigger question. Are we more vulnerable than we think? Recessions have become rare in the 21st century, thanks to better data and active central banks. That stability has benefits, but it can also breed complacency. When downturns are avoided for too long, inefficiencies and risky bubbles build up. The economy forgets how to handle a shock. Like a forest that suppresses small fires, the risk is that the next downturn could be much more severe. Years of low rates and stimulus have papered over problems. Now, as support is withdrawn, cracks are showing. The long calm may have made the system more fragile. Fewer recessions, but potentially nastier ones. Are we ready for the punch when it comes? Is a recession inevitable? No one knows for sure. Experts are divided. Some see resilience, others see warning signs everywhere. The economy is at a crossroads. One path leads to a soft landing, the other to a downturn. The outcome depends on the Fed's response, consumer resilience, and whether an unexpected shock hits. What should you watch for? Rising jobless claims, falling consumer spending, and cautious corporate outlooks. The best advice: be prepared, not panic. Build an emergency fund, pay down debt, and live within your means. It's not exciting, but it's the best way to weather uncertainty. The coming months will be telling. Let's hope the pilots can land this plane safely, but it's smart to brace for turbulence.